Before diving into this video, I feel like I need to apologize to you guys for what I'm about to show you because personally, nothing could have prepared me for this video. There is a high chance that you're going to be very disgusted by the content in this video. So massive trigger warning, guys. This video was sent over by a sister named Helen. So shout out to Helen for sending this in. I'm making this video for educational purposes. Massive trigger warning again. In this video, there's mentions of animal abuse and incest. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right into the video. But a little backstory and context that I think is relevant for the conversation. This creator on TikTok by the name Yoda Tota 40 used to be Amish, but he left the Amish community when he was 18, he said.
I was 18 years old when I left the Amish. That was in 1998, 24 years ago this year. Had to keep it secret, couldn't talk about it. If I'd have talked about it and let the cat out of the bag, I'd have been surrounded by a whole bunch of Amish elders, bishop, parents. I've seen it happen to others that tried to leave from my community because we were very old order and it was not okay to even have a season of running around, rumspringen.
He actually posted this video to his TikTok page in the year 2022. So this year, 2026, is going to make it 28 years since he's left Amish. Now that I'm done giving you guys a little backstory, we can jump right into why we are actually here, right? Because he started making videos sharing what some might say maybe secrets and expose info on the Amish and some of the things that they be doing in their communities, both good and bad, it seems, on his page. So people come into his comment section and they ask him questions and he responds with a video of the truth, right? From his perspective, at least we can say. And someone came into the comment section asking him if it's true that some Amish men have sexual relations with animals, and absolutely nothing could have prepared me for his response to this comment.
Is it true that some Amish men have sex with animals? Yes. Now, I'm glad you said some, because not all Amish are this way. Majority are very good people. The New Order Amish seem to have education. Well, the Old Order Amish where I come from, they do not. And that would be why. At the end of your question, you said, I was curious as to why. Well, I can tell you, because of lack of sex education, we simply didn't know how to react when we turned teenage years. I can speak from personal experience that when my hormones started changing, puberty hit, I had some very wicked things that went through my head because I was trying to figure out why. And I heard from my buddies, hey, did you know it works this way? So, with my own eyeballs, guys, I saw 4 different of my buddies, I'm not going to mention no names, family members. They were caught in sex acts with animals. One of them was with a Guernsey cow. Another one was with a little calf. Another one was a sheep. Guys, it does happen because the simple fact that there's no education. If they would teach the dangers of it, the diseases of it, the pregnancy. I thought little babies came from heaven in the middle of the night when angels come down and give me another brother or sister. When you're taught that, you don't know any better. See, that's very dangerous. Because if you were open to it and taught those dangers, then they would be afraid to do such a sexual, disgusting act to an animal. And also, that is why a lot of them do that to their own sisters where incest happens. I actually Googled before I answered your question this morning, and I found multiple incest and animal stories on Google, where an Amish man in 2017, 2 brothers actually were arrested. It leaked out to the outside law enforcement, and they were arrested for having animals. It does happen, and only a few get busted where law enforcement gets a hold of it. A lot of it gets hidden underneath the Old Order Amish church. They make it go away, they forget and forgive and move on. I know a pastor in my Amish church, well, he got busted and confessed of standing on a 5-gallon bucket behind a cow. You know what happened. It does happen. But sadly, we only know of a few. It happens a lot. And I saw it with my own eyeballs that it was happening. And it's really been alarming, the number of ex-Amish that have left the Amish that share stories with me where they also did it themselves and witnessed themselves of other having animals and also with their own family members, sisters, sometimes very young. And it's something that needs to be discussed, and they need to get resources in place, and that's what we're trying to help them do. But unfortunately, they're unwilling to work with former Amish or even Amish Rescue Mission, so therefore it's just going to continue.
First things first, I would like to say it's not animal smecks, it's animal sexual assault, it's animal sexual abuse, it's animal cruelty. You can't call it smecks when the animal cannot and did not give consent for the act, and vice versa, even when it's a human being in question. And to be clear, this is not me coming for him for using the term that he used, because this is a man bringing awareness to a situation, a problem, right? So I'm not trying to drag him. We learn every day, right? Maybe when he made this video, which was in 2022, he did not know to not, word it like that. But now we're having this conversation in 2026. And if you know better, you do better, right? So I'm saying that, now that we're having this conversation again now in 2026, it's probably going to be best if we use the right terminologies to talk about these things. That's what I'm saying. But I'm a bit confused right now, because in this video, he basically implied that the lack of SMEX education was why they did not know that doing the do with animals was wrong. And I'm confused because I thought common sense, like the everyday normal common sense that we all know, I want to believe that we all have, or obviously not all of us have it, but like I thought common sense was why or how we knew that doing the do with animals was wrong, and we did not necessarily need SMEX education to know that. I personally did not receive SMEX education growing up. I'm from Africa, and I don't even know if SMEX education has been incorporated yet, even in 2026, in our curriculum, like mandated, right? Because over here, SMEX isn't something that people are very open to talk about, especially with children, right? So, people are hush-hush about it. Hell, growing up, parents used to tell their kids that if you shake a boy like normal handshake, you can get pregnant. That's how much people shy away from these things where I'm from, right? But at least even still, we knew that like we should not be doing with animals though, right? And I know I'm not the standard. I know we are not the standard. Africans are not the standard or anything. That's not the point I'm trying to make here. The point I'm trying to make is that regardless of whether or not you have SMEX education, and yes, we should be prioritizing, putting it in schools globally, right? Because children needs to know these things. We need to stop this culture of shying away from telling them what the truth is, because education is important in all ramifications. People need to know, children need to know, right? But regardless of that, to say that it's the lack of sex education as the reason why they did not know that doing that with animals is wrong, I find it hard accepting that information. I don't know. There's just something that I personally, I feel like it's not adding up. I feel like, normal everyday common sense was supposed to cover that aspect. I just cannot agree, but I stand corrected. Maybe because I don't know everything. I don't know everything, and I'm open to getting educated. So you guys will let me know if you think that lack of SMEX education can play a role in why men or little boys or whoever that are doing it with animals are doing it with animals. And I do want to add at this point in the video, to be fair, that this is not an Amish community only problem. Unfortunately for us, the human species, globally, they are men, regardless of their religious affiliation, ethnicity, race, whatever beliefs that they have. They are men who globally do these things to animals. So I personally think that we should address this conversation from that perspective, rather than say, play the holier than thou card that I know that some of us might, be quick to want to do in the comment section. Let's address this sickness. That's what it is, a sick behavior that sick individuals are perpetuating globally. Let's address it from that perspective and find a way to rid ourselves, rid our world of these sick behaviors, these sick individuals. I think that's going to be a more productive way of addressing the topic than to play the whole holier than thou card, because that's not really going to help anybody. So I say all of this to say that the intention behind making this video isn't to dog on or slander Amish people or the Amish community, because that's not going to help anybody still at the end of the day. So there really is no point doing that. Like I said earlier, this video is made for educational purposes. So we should address it from that perspective. And I do want to say again at this point that This is why you should really be careful out here on these streets, because you don't know who is who and what they be up to in their spare time, right? Protect yourself. Make sure when you are meeting people, you are getting them tested, you are using protection. You are not just jumping up and down. While yes, I'm not trying to police anybody or play moral police or anything, because I'm not that person at all. I'm just saying be safe. Make sure you are doing your due diligence, right? Even if you're going to be jumping wisely. Jump wisely, protect yourself. I don't know about any other person, but I personally take videos like this as cautionary tale. And I would implore you do the same as well if you care about your health, if you care about your life, because this is just, it's crazy, crazy world we live in. I say this all the time. But before bringing this video to a close, I want to say justice for the animals. It's crazy what some people out here be doing to animals. Absolutely disgusting. And also justice for little girls around the world, like children around the world. It's always heartbreaking when you think about how people prey on children, the most vulnerable in our communities. Some people don't have the decency, the human decency and the common sense to want to protect them, to want to shield them from harm. They decide to, bring the harm on them instead. But I do want to know what your thoughts are on all of this. Let's continue this conversation down below in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be catching you in the next one. Be safe out there.
Lord have mercy.